Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood. Hello, and welcome to another Limit Free Life Show. This is Michelle Perkins. I'm your host. We're here on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock at ubngo.com, also live streaming from my Limit Free Life Facebook page. We have a repeat guest. That's how good she was the first time. We're bringing her back. So very excited to reintroduce Sandra Clark, our LinkedIn expert, who's going to go deeper than we did last time. A couple weeks ago, you can listen to that show and get familiarized with how to maximize the use of LinkedIn, which can be a super powerful tool, whether you're searching for a new job or trying to grow your business. This time we're going to take it a little bit down a different path, and we're going to talk about developing yourself as a thought leader on LinkedIn. So that's something that a lot of you might have heard of and not really known quite what to do with that term, or if you'd even be interested in doing anything on LinkedIn as a thought leader. So we're going to have a great conversation about that, and that, you know, what is it? Why is it a great idea to be a thought leader on LinkedIn, and how you can go about that? So to get started, I'm going to introduce you once again to Sandra Clark. I'm so pleased that she's back with us again for a second interview. And let's get started. So Sandra Clark is a trainer and coach specializing in helping busy professionals create powerful LinkedIn profiles and then teaching them to use those profiles for great results. Trained in communication, social media, and with an educational background, Sandra was Director of Communications for UCSC Extension in Silicon Valley, and now leads a successful business helping clients create and manage their LinkedIn presence through individualized workshops and coaching. She's also a frequent presenter about LinkedIn at professional organizations and companies in the Silicon Valley, and known for her first expertise in what she calls social media for the socially reluctant, and also for working with people who want to show they're more than one thing on LinkedIn. So welcome again, Sandra Clark.
Thank you. I just had so much fun. I had to do it again.
Good. I know, it was great. And it really is a big topic. So I think, you know, it's so wonderful to learn what we learned on the last show about creating a great profile, you know, how to use LinkedIn to its maximum advantage. But this is a really interesting topic because it is something that people know much less about, and it can be, again, a powerful business builder, among other things. And I'm going to let you jump in and really kind of explain that term thought leader, because it's used a lot, at least in my world. I mean, I'm imagining that there are some people out there listening who might really not have heard that term, or certainly don't hear it as much as I do. And I'd love for you to just kind of explain what that means and you know, get people a little comfortable with that idea, because, you know, when you first hear it, you think thought leader. Wow, well, you know, is that me?
That can't be me. That could never be me.
Exactly.
Those are famous people.
Yeah.
Well, folks listening, Michelle Perkins is a thought leader. So you now know that you know at least one thought leader. I consider myself a thought leader. So let me talk a little bit about what I consider a thought leader. I'm actually going to read you the Wikipedia definition. I'm going to read it because I can't memorize even one sentence. A thought leader is an individual or firm that is recognized as an authority in a specialized field and whose expertise is sought and often rewarded. E.g. Michelle Perkins.
I like that. And it does, yeah, okay. So basically, most of us are thought leaders. If you're listening to this show, you're probably an ambitious, driven professional of some sort, and most likely can see yourself after that definition as a thought leader.
And in fact, if you, instead of thought leader, sometimes that term feels too big. But if you feel comfortable thinking of yourself as a subject matter expert, most people would say, yeah, okay, then that's it. Just change that for thought leader and you're there.
Yeah.
And most people are not comfortable with it, and I get that. But, as I say to a lot of people, I think particularly women, get over yourself.
Yeah. Yes, you did mention that in the last show, and I think it's a very good message to hear over and over again.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I was in the middle of writing an article one time about not feeling confident in the way you present yourself, or feeling like the imposter syndrome.
Right.
And when I was still in the middle of it, I got interrupted, or I had a phone call or something, and somebody saying, well, you're the expert, so I wanted to ask you. And I nearly gagged. Expert? Oh, me? Who? What? Yeah. And it just didn't feel comfortable to admit, yes, no, I'm the expert, and I'm writing about this. Own your expertise.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, we did a show a couple of weeks or so ago about creating a great profile. And I'm still going to harp on that. You've got to have a great profile on LinkedIn if you want to be seen as a thought leader, because the whole idea is you do things that are going to attract people in to look at your profile.
Right.
You attract them in, they like what they see, they want to engage with you, they want to follow you. They can connect with you, but they also can simply follow you so that they'll see your content.
Right.
So on your profile, you should have a clear brand identity. Know who you are. What's your expertise? I mean, Michelle, what would you say yours was?
My expertise?
Yeah, your brand identity. Who are you? What's special?
Who am I? I think primarily I'm someone who loves the idea of people being fulfilled and happy and reaping financial rewards from their work. That's my main.
Right, and I think you communicate that well. Ideally, you should have a unique point of view. And sometimes we're inclined to think, oh, people know that, but we don't realize that it is a little bit unique or different. You don't have to, but it's a lot easier to be seen as a thought leader with something that's a little bit unique.
Right, right.
You need to have a purpose. Now, maybe your purpose, you've just talked about your purpose, what you want to do and create for people. Your profile needs to be complete. That helps you be found. And ideally, it should be authentic and personal. So you're not writing in third person, that boring style that you might have on your website or on a resume. This is you speaking authentically. And I'll show you an example of someone who takes that to the extreme. For those of you who are watching, you'll be able to see an example later. For those of you that are listening, I'll describe as we go through what you're seeing. So great profile, needs to look good, have all the basic components, great background, great headline, a great summary, particularly the first few lines. Ideally, some rich media. If you've done a video or you have pictures of yourself presenting, it's great to add that to kind of give people a sense of you speaking to the world. The other thing that you want to have is showing that you are writing and commenting and sharing on LinkedIn. When someone goes to your profile, they can actually see your content. They can see the last thing you've written, blog post, an article, but they can also see that you've liked, commented, shared. They can see that you're actively engaged and have an opinion about things. So it's very visible. It shows. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can show that. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different examples. One gentleman that I like to mention, his name is Jonas Prising, and he's chairman and CEO of the Manpower Group. Very conservative, kind of professional. He needs to be professional, act professional.
Right. And
yet he is actually listed as an official influencer on LinkedIn. But very traditional. But his headline, yes, he's chairman and CEO of Manpower Group, leading the world of work into the human age.
Nice.
So very traditional, but he's communicating something unique. He's got videos on his profile. You can see that he's written things, lots of different content. And then there's another example I love to use. Tickle cough here. There's a young woman in England. Her name is Alexandra Galvitz. She goes by Authentic Alex. And I encourage you to look her up on LinkedIn. She's a young woman. I think she's still in her older 20s. And she basically invented herself. She was just a young professional in some kind of corporate job, got bored, fed up, went off, traveled the world for a year, and came back and just decided to be someone special. And she's now recognized as one of the top voices in England. She's internationally recognized. And I have to laugh because I referred one of my clients who was in her 40s and a marketing professional looking for a new job. And I referred her to look at this young woman and see what she was doing. And my client was absolutely horrified. She doesn't know anything. She has no background, no experience. She's putting herself out there as an expert. And I say, yeah, exactly. And listen to that young and vibrant voice. So it doesn't matter what age you are. She has a unique point of view. She introduces her summary. Welcome to my humble virtual abode. Some may hate that kind of style, but it's very true to her, and she's authentic to that style through everything she does and writes and posts and her videos.
That brings up something I just want to ask you, because I recently heard a fantastic speaker, Amy Jo Martin, talk about social media and the importance. She was more talking about Instagram and some of those, but the importance of being authentic and worrying less about how people might be perceiving you and, should you look like this or that, and just really being yourself. Would you say that goes for LinkedIn as well?
Absolutely. Some people are so worried about being perfect, doing everything just right. And so I tend to like to put things out there that are just right and perfect too, but I make mistakes. And what I do is I embrace them and use them as examples for my clients of, if I'm going to tell you to be brave, be bold, make mistakes, then I need to be willing to embrace that and do that too. So, doing video on LinkedIn or doing something else, hugely uncomfortable, but you just have to try it, share your discomfort, and people kind of connect with you because of that.
Okay.
So I'd like to kind of get some specifics here, so we're not just all generalities. So thought leader, subject matter expert, original, author. Ideally, you write content. Well connected means you have quite a few connections on LinkedIn, that your voice is being heard to a lot of people. You're active on LinkedIn, active, commenting, liking, sharing content. And so what kind of thought leader will you be? And I'll look forward to hearing from people if they identify the kind of thought leader they are. And why the heck would anybody want to be a thought leader? Is it just for our egos? And no, why would you think, Michelle? Why would your clients want to be a thought leader?
I think they'd want to be a thought leader in part to get some message out to the world that can help people, and in part to build credibility and have people learn more about them so they get a taste of, the way they think and who they are, possibly before working with them directly.
Absolutely. I mean, you can get hired if you're already employed, get hired into the jobs. You can get recruited because somebody says, I want this person. I get promoted because you're seen as a thought leader in your company.
Right.
You're thought after as a speaker, as an author. It's pretty cool, and it's delightful to have some influence, especially if you're a little older and you'd like to have some impact on the younger generation. Go for it.
Yeah, that's another really interesting point, because I find that when I'm working with people and they are a little older, they're actually a little less secure about putting themselves out there and speaking up sometimes. And they have all this wisdom, and they really, have so much more experience and everything else. So they're in a perfect position to express themselves more on LinkedIn, but they, oftentimes feel like, I don't know, whether it's a uncomfortableness with the age or just having maybe, if they're transitioning late, there's all kinds of things going on in their heads about that whole scenario. So, but I think that's a very interesting point that you bring up, that when you're older, you have a lot to share, and you should be sharing it on LinkedIn.
Right. Pass the knowledge on, support the younger people, show the way.
Yeah, nice.
So, how to get started on this feels overwhelming big. I mean, first, pick your subject area. What are you going to be an expert in? I am not an expert in all social media. I try to learn most of it so that I can help people. Right. But my subject matter expertise is LinkedIn. Okay. And even within LinkedIn, I have a narrower focus of helping individuals and small businesses, not so much the big companies, not so much sales and marketing. So
Okay.
pick your subject area. So what's your subject area, Michelle?
I'll
Using
just,
you as my test person.
yeah, I'm a bad example because I actually have three, which is a very interesting question about how to possibly address that on LinkedIn. But I'm gonna just focus on helping people with their relationship with money.
Okay, perfect.
It's kind of a,
So great expertise to have. So what do you do next? Well, you start collecting online links. And you might see an article online and think it's cool. You could go ahead and share it right away. But I don't know about you, but I tend to do my reading in chunks, and I might see a whole lot of things at one time.
right.
So collect them, put them in a folder, put them somewhere where you can easily find them, so that when you're ready, you've got all this rich resources to go with. And so this is the initial part of becoming a thought leader, is to be a curator of great content. Doesn't mean you're writing original content. It just means you're picking out great stuff and sharing it. So I share articles written by other LinkedIn experts all the time, even when they're my competitors. If it's a good article, I want to help people. So people know if I share something, it's going to be worth reading. I'm going to tell them why they should read it. Like, perhaps it's an article for job seekers. So I'm going to say, if you're a job seeker, you really need to pay attention to this, especially number 3 on the list.
Okay.
If you're a small business owner, this is well worth reading. I'm going to tell, because my audience might be working in companies, small business owners, individuals. So I want to tell them why they should read it and who should read it. So be a curator. And even just doing that without ever writing an original word yourself, you're start to be seen as an expert.
Okay. But don't just share without a comment, basically.
Yeah. If you just put a link or something, people, why would they even bother to click on that? Now, over time, if they see you as a thought leader, if you put a link, they may just click on it. But no, you need to actually say something. There are, additional things you can do. And there are differences between whether you share links or whether you write something. But go ahead and just be seen as an expert who shares great content.
Okay.
So read, comment, and share. Now, LinkedIn, one of the algorithms, there are many algorithms in LinkedIn. So one of them is built on the whole engagement and interaction with people. So you want to like, comment, share other people's content on LinkedIn. You see something that's thought-provoking, interesting, say so, share it into your network, comment on it. You're commenting on their article, which is appearing in to their connections. Their connections are now seeing you participating in that conversation.
Okay, great.
So read, comment, share. It's easy. It's still scary for a lot of people. It feels so public.
Right.
And when you do that, like, share, commenting, it shows, again, remember, right on the front of your profile. It's very visible. People go that they can see what you've been engaging in.
Okay. Very interesting.
So don't be afraid, and include a mix of stuff. Some likes are fine, some comments, some sharing. If it's all just like, it's very superficial. It's not as meaningful as actually sharing something. It's actually commenting.
Okay. And does LinkedIn actually know, does it pay attention to those differences? And
yes.
Okay, so the algorithms will do more for you if you're sharing and commenting versus just liking.
Exactly. Okay. And what you'll see is that the more engagement, the more your posts go out. So if you see on your post there's like 1 or 2 likes, no comments, it's not getting shared very widely. And in fact, it's an indicator to me that it's very likely that you're having it posted by something like Hootsuite, or what's the other ones where they're automatically set up in advance to post.
I'm gonna take some of your time to ask a question. What's that?
I wasn't pointing any fingers.
No, I've been having an issue with that, actually. So I'm curious because you mentioned something that got my attention. I do have one of those programs. It's later, actually. I don't know if you've heard of that one. That's supposed to be posting things for me. I have had some issues with it, and also I don't know if it's better to do that yourself or if it's better to use one of these automated systems. What is your opinion on that?
Well, it's all about authentic. We're back to authentic again.
Right.
If you use something you'll find that there's very little engagement, meaning very few people are liking, commenting on it. And so it's just simply not being seen much. So it's like pushing something out there, pushing something out there.
Okay.
But if you post it yourself, and not just pushing, but maybe you're posting a thought about something and then inviting people's input, and then they comment about it and you're responding back to them. Otherwise, it's just a one-way push. It's just like push marketing. There's no engagement, so it's wasting.
Yeah.
So, but we're busy, admittedly. So
right.
The tool, but the algorithm does know it's a tool, and it does tend to not push it out to as many people.
Can you give us an example of one of the poll things that you could do? Where you're asking
people would get engaged.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I posted something this morning, and I don't know what the reaction will be, but it's, I recommend that people always personalize their invitations to connect. Okay. And often they don't. So some of the time, depends how much energy and time I have. If people write to me without a note, I write back to them without accepting their request to connect, which is something people don't know you can do, but you can. And I write back, and I have a little script that I use that's sort of basically, thanks for the invitation, but before I accept your connection, tell me why you'd like to connect, why, how you see us adding value to each other's network.
Okay.
And then if they write back, now we've started a conversation. To be honest, very few people usually write back. Well, it just happened this morning. I wrote this message to about 6 people, and I almost immediately got back 4 replies. And they were delightful. One was, oh, I thought you asked me to connect. And I said, no, you just saw that list of people you might know that LinkedIn put in front of you. Somebody else said, well, I'm a member of this job search group. And I said, great, I used to belong to them too. How can I help you? Somebody else who said, well, I'm starting a new business, and I'm going to be visiting the United States, and I was hoping to make some connections to meet with before I arrive. So I was so excited about getting these responses.
Yeah.
So I wrote a post about, I just had the most delightful experience on LinkedIn today. I wrote to people to ask why they wanted to connect, and I had these responses. So, somebody wrote back, oh, yes, I do that too sometimes, and this is the I use. And I wrote,
okay, great, thank you.
So, influencer listed by LinkedIn.
Okay.
Branson, Bill Gates, various people.
Okay.
And you can find them literally by putting the word influencers in the top search bar.
Oh, okay, great.
But, and you can just follow people you think are thought leaders in your field. But follow them and just kind of see what conversations are going on and what they're going. The other thing that really works well is to be generous and helpful. And so, for example, I got to be one of the first people to get this new thing that's going to be rolling out on LinkedIn called events. Oh. LinkedIn used to have it years ago. They're bringing it back, but only a few of us worldwide have it.
Okay.
And I got to be a pilot tester on that. Well, I listened to the podcasts of a LinkedIn expert in England, really enjoy his stuff. He doesn't have this new feature. So rather than writing about this new feature myself, I did a demo for him so that he could include it in his podcast.
Okay.
So I was generous. I gave him this knowledge without sharing it directly myself. One, I'm going to get a lot more visibility because he shared it than I would be doing it myself. Right. And then he was generous back when he wrote it. He gave me credit. He mentioned me by name. I got a lot of visibility. So it was a win-win back and forth.
Nice.
And I've done that with a number of people internationally. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. That's another idea that I'm sure a lot of people have not had. So that's great.
And it's easy. We don't like bragging. We don't like, I'm a thought leader. No, you're a generous, kind, sharing person who wants to help people.
Right. Which is always the best way to make connections and build your network. Yeah. Okay, great.
Now, the toughest one is writing original content.
Yeah.
Now, some people just love to write. For me, it's like painful experience, like sticking needles in myself. I feel I have a voice. I want to be heard, so I make myself do it, but it's not easy or comfortable. But if you do that, it is worth doing. If you're writing a blog already on your own website, go ahead and copy and paste it into the area for that on LinkedIn. Don't do the link. LinkedIn doesn't like links. It takes you out of LinkedIn. So go ahead and copy it in there again. However, if you're not already writing, I wouldn't start writing long articles for LinkedIn because they don't get a lot of visibility. People, short attention spans, they don't want to write a lot.
Okay.
Or read a lot, I should say. But it's worth having a few because, again, on your profile, very visible. Right there, it's going to show the last thing that you wrote. So I've got an example here of a guy who wrote an article about blockchain. And 6 great non-cryptocurrency use cases. Now, I don't know anything about blockchain, but when I did a search for, I was looking for like a topic that I knew nothing about. His was one of the first things that came up. So not my area of expertise, but his.
Can I jump in and ask you, I get emails from LinkedIn, and usually they're just referring me to some articles, which usually gets me to click over and look at those articles, actually. But what's happening there? Why is LinkedIn sending me those, and how do you get to be one of those people?
Okay, well, usually those articles are written by their people.
Okay. Or, by their influencers?
Not so much.
Oh, okay.
If you send me something sometime about what you're getting, I'll take a look at it. But LinkedIn are basically noticing your behavior all the time and sending you messages that are going to pull you over into their platform. I don't know if I mentioned last time, I think it's their CFO. His pay structure was changed this year. So his pay bonuses are actually going to be based on how many people log into LinkedIn, how many people engage on LinkedIn. Not the CEO, but the CFO, I believe it is.
Oh, wow.
So everything they're doing is to pull you over to make you look at their platform.
Huh, very interesting. Okay.
But the thing that you can do, for those of you who find it painful to write much, is most of us could probably string a paragraph or two together. We're looking at, what is it? I think it's about 700 characters. What is that? Maybe 150 words, something like that.
Okay.
And it's just short. And that's, the thing I mentioned this morning where I just talked about what a delightful experience I had engaging in conversations with people. That was, I call them short form posts. You literally just write them into the area where you would add a link, share a post. And talk or share something that you've thought about. There are technical things that can make it get more visibility, but it's easy to read because it's short, gets a lot more visibility. There's no links taking you out of LinkedIn, so LinkedIn itself likes it better.
Okay.
Will get you, you can get a lot of mileage from that. Just think of something, put it in a Word doc first if you want to proofread it. Think about it twice, but go ahead and be brave, be bold, just do it. Those kinds of short posts, the disadvantage is they do show on your profile as your activity, but only the last, if you've written an article, the last 3, if you haven't written any articles, it shows, I think, 6 of them. And they only last until it's replaced by something else that you've liked or commented on. So it has a short lifespan, but a powerful one potentially.
What, because not everybody, who you're connected with is seeing your posts, is it a good idea to repost the same thing multiple times?
Well, yes and no. If nobody's paying attention the first time you post it, reposting is maybe not going to do anything different. It might go into the news feed of some different people. What's going to get you the most visibility, if you post something and somebody comments, shares, likes it, it's now going into their news feed. So their connections are seeing it. And I did something one time that did go viral in a negative kind of way, but I have people all over the world commenting, liking. You got a lot of visibility. Unfortunately, they didn't like it.
So that's why it went viral. you got all the blowback.
It was just have a professional headshot on LinkedIn. Do not have your children, no spouses, no whatever. And I got some very upset people that they felt that their children should be in there or whatever.
Oh, goodness. Okay, interesting.
And I ended up My daughter was in Japan at the time on vacation, and she saw this stuff and was upset that people were attacking me.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking the whole post down, which is something you can do if it gets out of hand, because I'm not tough enough skinned.
I'm surprised that, yeah, okay, interesting. You never quite know, do you? Because I would have never thought that would be controversial at all, but.
I didn't think so. And, I have a quirky sense of humor at times that some people appreciate, some people don't.
Yeah. And
it doesn't always play well, especially for people who don't know me. So I think that was part of what happened there. I thought I was being quite funny.
Okay. All right. That's great.
So, Michelle, do you ever do any videos for your business besides?
I do. I mean, I do this video right now. So every week.
Short ones, like little short clips?
I do have some short clips, yes. I probably don't have them on LinkedIn. I have my one longer one on LinkedIn and probably not the shorter ones.
Well, the whole thing of sharing content, now when you post on your own profile, you need to use a link. But when you post into the newsfeed to post an article, post a video, you upload it. It's called native video, and it gets a lot more video. It's particularly good. This is goofy shot I used as an example of somebody, the podcaster I follow in England. Oh. And with video, you can't always control what goofy expression you're making at the time. But be bold, be brave, just do it. And ideally, you want to have subtitles showing, because LinkedIn in particular, people tend to be watching at work. They don't have the sound on. So, you want to have subtitles. You can get that done very cheaply. I use rev.com. Yeah,
rev.com is great for those people out there who don't know what that is. rev.com. That's a very good tool.
If you have an iPhone, there's actually an app that you can do it right on your iPhone. There's an app for Droid as well that doesn't work as well, but you can do it right there. I am not very comfortable doing that, but I try to. Yeah. But it's huge. People like that. Gets a lot of visibility.
So are you talking about sort of the equivalent of Facebook Live on LinkedIn?
Right, but you've got that Facebook Live. Do you save that as an MP4 video as well to repurpose?
Well, I'm
not sure.
I don't use it enough to know much about it. We're live streaming right now, but that's because Ryan is doing it for me.
Okay. Well, I think you probably are, and Ryan can help you. If you've got an MP4, I wouldn't recommend doing this for videos that are more than 2 to 4 minutes maximum. Okay. But you literally upload it into LinkedIn directly. You've already got it. If you've got it on Facebook, just save it as an MP4. A file, you got it on YouTube, you probably had it on your computer to start with, because you did it with your phone. Or you can do it directly from your phone. I'm a little old-fashioned that way. I don't want to post it directly. I want to check it first.
Yeah, right. So native video, is that what that was called?
That's what that is called. Yeah.
And that's actually a way for you to get on LinkedIn with video.
Right, absolutely. So if you were to do a little native video, and native just means you're uploading it directly instead of putting a link.
Gotcha.
So, maybe I'll use myself as examples. I'll do a little tip on using LinkedIn. So my tip might be, you are more than your job title. So your headline should communicate more about who you are. So there's 120 characters. Use it. My LinkedIn title would just be owner at LinkedIn Mentoring. I've added in consultant, speaker, trainer, LinkedIn profiles for results. I've added some more about me. So I'll do a quick little maximum 2-minute video, and I'll upload it.
So very nice. I have been noticing more and more of people that I know, especially people in the executive leadership space. They seem to be doing those kinds of, Monday morning tips or whatever. And I'm seeing more and more of that. And it's great. It's actually very helpful. It's quick. It's you get a little nugget of information that kind of is fun to hear. So that's how people are doing it. I was actually very curious.
And it doesn't have to be expertly done. It can literally just be sitting here in my office. Right. I often do mine outside just because the light's a little better there.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll do them on location somewhere, and just sharing. And it's, they're not perfect,
Right.
and you have to be okay with that. But I can't remember the statistics now, but video is a huge growing part of all our marketing messages. And if you're not doing it,
Yeah.
and you need to market your business, you're going to need to start doing something. And you already do it. You just need to repurpose it a little bit.
Well, and I had no idea that there was a difference between, you putting a link on there and actually having the video be uploaded directly. So that's a great tip. Thank you.
Yeah, the whole thing is anytime you're taking people out of LinkedIn, the algorithm doesn't like it. But to be honest, people don't like it. They don't really want to be taken away somewhere they don't know where they're going.
Right.
So they want to stay on LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants to. So the more you stay in there, the better.
Very cool. Okay, so what would you say about people who are using LinkedIn to, becoming a thought leader to grow their business, as far as links that would take you away to their website? What I'm assuming it.
Well, you have to kind of balance it up. When you add a link to your website or something, it looks quite attractive when you post it because it picks up the picture from your website, but it may not get as much visibility.
Okay.
So if you're doing, say you're doing 5 posts a week, and you don't have to post original content 5 days a week, but you should be on LinkedIn 5 days a week. Okay. So let's say Monday you do Monday tips and you do your video. Tuesday you do questions, questions I've been thinking about this week. What do you think about this? Wednesday, maybe you're doing a link to something. Okay. Thursday, maybe you've got an event and you've got a link to an Eventbrite registration. Okay. So you just kind of mix it up, and then you measure what gets the most results.
Okay. All right. So back to thought leadership. So some of the keys here are posting. That's a big one, and basically sharing your expertise and your knowledge. What else? And what am I not saying?
The engagement thing you've referenced, and that's all. The more you interact with people, the more you teach the algorithm what you like. If they engage back with you, the algorithm is learning that they like your stuff. They're going to see more of it. And you start popping up. I think it's kind of, there are times when I have to laugh and I say that my fame far exceeds my revenue. And the reason I say that was at least 2 years or so ago, there was a guy in Spain who did a map of LinkedIn trainers around the world. And I was the only person listed, I think, in California. Wow. Not just Northern California. Now, obviously, that's ridiculous. I'm not the only LinkedIn trainer here and not the biggest, best known of them. But my activity had been enough that he had been able to find me and added me to his map.
I love that. That's great.
So it's because I've been active, engaged, and talking to people.
Right.
So similar things to that have happened. That have been fun and, feed my ego, if not my wallet.
That's great, though. That's great because it is fun when you start getting that engagement and, job postings or other opportunities start coming at you through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a wonderful way to meet really interesting professional people, in the professions that you might be interested in. It is fun, actually. I mean, as soon as your profile and everything's set up well and you've learned a few ways to use it properly so you're not getting tangled up in anything technical, it is a lot of fun.
It is. Yeah. And so my 10th tip, and I'm happy to send people the 10 tips if they are just listening to this, and I didn't number them as I was talking. And that is to use hashtags. Hashtags are basically like the word that someone would use to find what you're talking about.
Okay.
So if your expertise is money, money you'd put the little hashtag sign and the word money. And then if people were looking for content written about that subject, they would more easily find it. And you start to become recognized for those hashtags. You can create your own hashtags, like yours could be limit free life.
Right.
But people are probably not looking for that.
Yeah. Well, they are looking for it, but they don't know that those are the words they should use.
Right. Exactly. But if you consistently use it, you might start to get that out there. And also you can find all of the stuff you've posted that use that. It just becomes like Authentic Alex, the gal in London, who uses that as her own personal very personal hashtag.
So the hashtags would go where? Within the body of the post?
To be honest, it doesn't really matter because the algorithm of LinkedIn looks wherever they are. I usually stick them at the bottom so that it doesn't distract from what I've written. Okay. But you could equally have them in the middle. Okay. So say, for example, you were posting something about, I started my career because I wanted to help people live limit-free life hashtag, and you'd have to swish it together, all one word, right, not divide it up, and then go on with your sentence, and you could kind of use it within the sentence. It's a little hard to explain that without showing it, right? Because these are advanced tips that I'm giving people. So don't worry if you can't do them. It's overwhelming. Just get out, share, be knowledgeable. Okay. The other thing is what's called at mentioning. And it's using the at sign and then the name of the person. And as you start to write the name of the person, you'll see their profile come up. Click on that, and it actually hyperlinks to their name. So somebody reading your what you've written, when they mouse over it, they could actually click on that person's name, go to their profile. That person is also notified that you've mentioned them. Okay. You can do that to people you're not connected to. So, for example, I wrote about referencing an article written by a reporter in New York, and I referenced his name, so he would be notified, and maybe he'd come and, chime into the conversation. If not, maybe he's just flattered.
That's great. Boy, really, really good tips. Again, this is advanced stuff. This is stuff that really I would assume most people are not doing. So I'm not going to let anybody get away with thinking they should be doing this without having a good profile. Please have a good-looking profile first. But it doesn't have to be difficult to do. Get started in a small way. Even if you don't see yourself as a thought leader, this whole engaging with people is going to, they're going to notice that you've liked or commented on what they wrote. They're going to be flattered. They're going to like that. They're going to notice you. If you're a job seeker, they may, they perhaps subliminally remember the name when you apply for a job there. Right. Who knows? Beautiful. That's great. Okay. We have time for about one more tip. Sandra went fast again. So. Okay. Well, it's what, when, how often, and type. So people often ask me, how often should you post and what type? So I've alluded to that earlier. The what should be a variety. If you're just pushing stuff out there, you're just, it's obvious that you're just marketing. You're not really there to build a relationship, to engage with people. So they're going to ignore you. So you want to engage with other people's activity. You do want to do something daily. The algorithm of LinkedIn likes daily activity. Again, that CFO is getting his bonus based on you logging into LinkedIn. So do something daily, but something doesn't mean you have to write original content. Just be there, do something in your profile, like, comment, or share something that somebody else wrote. And I'm often asked about the time of day. Does the time of day matter? Right. Yes and no. With traditional marketing, when you're emailing and stuff like that, there are specific times of the day, but it depends where your audience lives. So my audience is now worldwide, and their time zones are different. Like when I send out my email newsletter, I send it out at the same time, my time. I could have it sent out at the same time, their time. I don't bother. Right. But on LinkedIn, the same kind of thing. If your audience is professional, you are probably going to get more visibility if you post during prime business hours. But I find a lot of people don't bother to look until the evening. That's when they have time. That's me. Yeah. I'm often looking at it, late at night, because that's the only time I really have a chance. So, right. Yeah. Or early morning when people first get in, or lunchtime. Afternoon posts often do well if someone's in a different time zone. Like I have a lot of East Coast clients. So if I post in the afternoon, my East Coast clients will see that. And there's a thing that if people like, comment, share it within the first 30 minutes of it going up, the LinkedIn algorithm says, aha, we like this. Wow. We have a hit. And they put it into more people's newsfeed. That's fascinating. Okay. I love this. And I thank you again for such a great show and so much great information. It actually, it gets people, I think, including me, very inspired to go, use LinkedIn more and play around with it and have a more fun and consequently get more benefit from it. So let's have you let people know how to reach you. And I'll just say, for anyone who wants to post on the Limit Free Life Facebook page, comment and put any of your questions, and Sandra will I'll let her know, or we'll make sure that she gets your question and can answer it for you. So, but Sandra, let people know how they can get a hold of you directly so they can get all this great wisdom on LinkedIn and use their LinkedIn to maximize their business or their job search.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michelle, for the opportunity. So the easiest thing would be to just go to my website, linkedinmentoring.com. You can email me at sandra@linkedinmentoring.com. On my website, under contact, there's a place to book a complimentary consultation if you need that kind of help. If you'd like to get my newsletter, be on my mailing list, just let me know, and I'll be happy to add you. I send out tips and tricks every couple of weeks on using LinkedIn. I love using it, and I love to hear from people. So reach out and connect to me. Send a personalized message where you heard about me, and then I can let Michelle know too.
That's great. Thank you. And I'm doing this crazy, very early morning boot camp kind of personal development program that's really fantastic. I'm doing it right now. And a lot of it is kind of about finding things that are out of your comfort zone. And I would say for a lot of people, putting yourself out there as a thought leader would be putting yourself out of your comfort zone. And so I would say take everything. Yeah. So take what Sandra taught you today and make that, kind of a next step to go out there and decide that you're going to be a thought leader on LinkedIn and see what happens. So thank you. Thanks for being here again at ubngo.com. And this is the Limit Free Life Show. I will be here every Wednesday at 1 o'clock to bring you great guest interviews, tips, advice, all kinds of things related to career transition, business development, and your money mindset. So thanks again for listening. Please subscribe to the show on iTunes and on the Limit Free Life YouTube channel. And we will see you next week. The work that I do is that your work is yours to create. This is your piece of art that you can create in your life, and there's really nothing stopping you. Overall, most of us can learn what we need to learn and figure out what we need to figure out and create that fabulous career or business that we dream about. And there's really no reason to think that you can't. My name is Michelle Perkins, and I am the CEO and founder of a company called Limit Free Life. And I help men and women to make dramatic change in their lives so that they can have the fulfillment, fun, and financial prosperity that they have always wanted to find through their work. The main services I offer through Limit Free Life are one-on-one private coaching, group coaching, trainings and seminars, and business consulting. My signature service is one-on-one coaching over a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, even a year. It really allows a person to decide on an outcome that they desire, and then for us to work together to really achieve that outcome in full. The type of clients that I typically work with are professional men and women who are driven to do more, who might be entrepreneurs, but also career professionals who work in organizations, who are really looking to do more with their lives and very open to thinking in new ways about what they're doing, and who are willing to take responsibility, do the work, make some changes, and who don't say I can't a whole lot. Clients up-level in a number of ways. For some, they start a business after being in the corporate world. For others, they have an existing business and they really figure out the key and the formula to making that business grow and take off. For some, it's a matter of really developing courage. And for many, it's a matter of up-leveling their view of themselves, what they're capable of, how powerful they are, what their strengths are, and where they can go in life. What I see also is that there's a spark that kind of gets lit, and that flame keeps growing within them, and there are things that they want that maybe they were reluctant to even express that they wanted, and now they just go for it. They have bigger wants and bigger dreams than they had before, and the sense that they can achieve those things. I feel very strongly that money beliefs are foundational to developing a business that can scale and grow and become the business that you want it to be, whatever level of success that is. And for people who feel stuck or their business isn't going the way they want, a lot of times it comes back to some of these money beliefs. So as a certified money mindset coach, I have the training to help people understand where their hidden money beliefs are either interfering in their lives or businesses, or coming into play in some fashion in all the decisions that they're making, both in their business and in their life. The overall mission behind my work is to help people love their work, to find satisfaction, fulfillment, fun, and also to be financially prosperous in what they're doing. That combination to me is a perfect recipe for making work a great part of your life. And so that's my vision, is for people to see work and money as allies in their life and things they can lean on so that they have something that makes them feel important and something that gives them a place to go to develop a sense of identity and purpose and meaning in the world. My greatest hope for my clients is that they will develop a holistic relationship with work, money, and life, and there won't be this separation where they go to work and then they live their life after work, and they will develop work or businesses that they love, that they look forward to going to, and that give them the freedom and the income and the happiness that they're looking for in their life.